Oh my, where's the button? Oh my god, does audio work? We gotta see, does the audio work? Check, check, mic check. Mic check on a Monday, bros. Mic check on Monday. Am I loud? Am I quiet? I don't know. I peaked the level, but I think I peaked it when I was moving the microphone. So who knows? Who knows? I don't know. You guys will have to let me know what you think so far. Here we are. New studio. I'm actually coming to you from the new studio space. As you can see, it's pretty dark behind me. And there's not too much of a preview for you on this day, because if I gave you too much of a preview on this day, it would spoil the edited content. The edited content. So, but you can see there is some interesting something going on in the background. I don't know. Maybe I'll shine a light back there at some point. Do I have one? Hold on. Let me see. Oh, actually, you know what I could do? Let's do this. I didn't think about doing this before. Oh, what I need. Oh, that's what I need to do. Hold on. Hold on. I have to turn them on. Now you can see. Now you can see some stuff in the background. Oh, but I can't access those lights right now. I don't know why. That's hilarious. Oh, there we go. Now they're working. Oh, no. Two of them aren't working. That's hilarious. Can I turn their brightness down? No, I can't. I messed with the networking, and only one light is responding at this moment. Oh, makes my phone beep. All right, well, we'll turn them back off because it's faulty. But as you can see, we're in the new studio. I don't know if audio sucks or not. Does anybody let me know first? Oh, Skogs is first. That's right. So far, it looks good. Okay. I think sound is probably a little weird. Moved the microphone, changed a bunch of stuff around. I don't know how my level is, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes throughout the stream today. I do have old wireless stuff that I'm going to be setting up in the future so that I can just be streaming with a lapel mic, I think, is what I'm going to do in the future. I know some people were like, oh, dude, you should get a shotgun mic. But the only downside to a shotgun mic is I got to aim it right at my face. And then anytime I would potentially move away, you just kind of hear shouting in the background, which is, I think, not the greatest experience in the world. And in the future, the other cameras that are set up in here, I'll be able to be doing the live stream and we'll be able to just switch cameras and go to other areas in here. And if I have a lapel mic that's wireless, I can just go and do stuff and be on other camera. That's not necessarily going to be the fanciest setup in the world, because then I'll have to walk back and be off camera because I'll have to actually change the camera from here. Although maybe in the future there's some kind of integration that I can do that I'll be able to like have a remote or something. I don't know. I don't know if that exists, honestly. I do know that there are stream decks that you can do buttons to change cameras and stuff like that, but it would still like be over here, so I still would have to just come over here. So I don't see why adding one of those to the computer is super useful, because you still have to come over and manually push the button. But maybe there is a remote control or something, and maybe we'll hear from somebody in the future as to like, hey, here's an option that we used somewhere out in the world. Because of my own paranoia, I think I'm going to open up YouTube here and let's see. Let's take a look. Let's see if it's good. Is it good? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be good. Does it take a long time for my stream to load, apparently, on my own network? Yeah, apparently my stream doesn't load very fast on my phone. I don't know. So, okay, let's see. There we go. We got it. Okay, looks fine. Okay, sounds fine. Looks fine. We're appeased. I was gonna do a private test stream, and then see what's up. Different camera or lower balance. Your shirt isn't as busy this week. Same camera, different lens, and I messed with a bunch of the settings, to be honest. And the lighting is different. The lighting is better. Okay, let me start back over. Same camera, different lens. Had a bunch of problems connecting to this camera because I need to update its firmware. For whatever reason, I can't update the firmware from the software, so I will have to put it on an SD card and put it in the camera and do it old school. But I don't know where the batteries are for this camera because this camera has been plugged into mains power for a long time, and I'm not 100% sure that I can update the firmware without a battery in it. Although now that I'm saying that out loud, it's probably fine. It probably wouldn't be a big issue, but either way, it's had the mains power hooked up to it for a long time, and for whatever reason, the software won't connect to it to update the firmware so that this lens would be in it. So I had to manually go in and mess with the settings. And on top of it, the lighting in here is better than in my my daughter's playroom where I was streaming before. Which was my temporary office that lasted a year. I think most people out there can understand how stuff like that happens. You know, I had it set up and it was working, and then I kept working on this, and you go like, well, it's still working, so I'll just still use that. But this weekend, Friday, I just pulled the trigger and took that whole computer apart. I just took the whole desk apart. I took one of the desks out. I put it into my shop, blah-de-de-blah, and was like, yeah, we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off and get it done. One of the things that I was kind of avoiding with moving in here, I think from a personal standpoint, is that, like, I am further away from my family. I'm physically further away. I'm like, you know, I'm in the garage. I'm on the other side of the garage. The house is over there. But we did figure out something that will help with that sort of physical distance. There's a doorbell in here. So if the doorbell goes off, that means Vicky needs me for something. So we worked that out. She has 2 different remotes. She has one in her bedroom and then one somewhere else. I don't know. That she can just ring the doorbell, and then I'll come and be like, hey, what do you need? What's going on? Figure out what's happening. So we did that, but I also, like, it feels a little bit weird to be further away. So like at night when I'm, at night I'll generally play a game of Risk, but I'm like way over here now as opposed to being like, oh, I'm just off the kitchen. So there was something to that, and I think I realized that, like, our plan was this, and so I should just go ahead and not worry about that and deal with that later down the road for whatever. But I honestly don't like being away from my family, but it is what it is. So this is ultimately going to be a better setup, realistically. And there's been a lot of weird things that I've had to deal with, like organizing this. Initially, when I built this, there's a wall right behind where your camera is. It's a little stem wall to a door, and it's so that the door isn't like up against the wall. That it doesn't make any sense. So I built it out 4 feet because I was like, oh, my desk is 4 feet. So I built it out 4 feet plus. So it's actually like, 54 inches to the door jamb or whatever, right? Now, one of the issues there is it turns out that my desks were 62 inches wide. For what I don't know how that happened. I guess they've always been that length. They didn't change, but they're 62 inches, so they'd be too long to fit here. So I ended up building this desk, which I have the video for it, and it's loaded in, and someday you guys will see that, the desk building video. But I had to like completely change everything that was going on here, and then things just weren't fitting the way that I had originally planned them to fit. Like, I have a little mini fridge that we had at the old house, and for whatever reason I kept it because I was like, oh, I could put like bottled water in it and put like cold fish food and things that need to stay refrigerated for the fish tanks. Like, perfect. Then I'll just have that. And I just kept wanting to integrate it so that it was just under something and out of the way. And that turned into a big problem because you guys can't really see from here, but I have two keyboards down here. And every time I tried to mount the keyboards like under the desk, no matter what I did to reconfigure this, the mini fridge was in the way. So I either need one of two things: a smaller mini fridge, or put it somewhere else. Well, I didn't want to buy another mini fridge. It's not really like, it's not a whole reason to be having like a whole bunch of mini fridges. And I didn't want to spend the money. So I decided to put it somewhere else. So it is now just over there. And I'll have to figure that out later at a later date when it makes more sense to worry about keeping that mini fridge out of the way. So yeah, it's just been a bunch of stuff like that over and over again, like organizing, cable management that goes through the wall, because I want this desk to be up against the wall and I want it to be as wire free as possible. So I had to like cut new, I had to cut new holes in the walls, had to rewire some outlets, had to move things around, had to mount a bunch of power strips. So it's been a bunch of goofy stuff like that, where it's just like, oh man, this is going to take an hour and a half. I got to cut a hole in the drywall. Then, I got to rewire these outlets, move these outlets around, pull the wires through. Oh, there's insulation in the way, just stuff like that. So it's been, and, with things like the soundproofing that's going on in here, which honestly, I still have a couple of the panels that we made not hung up because I haven't been able to figure out like where everything is actually landing and then where it's going to work. So a lot of times it's been like, set up a camera, put this thing here, take it out of the wall. Then I got to patch the drywall at some point and repaint it. But, take it out of the wall, move it over here. Well, that's better, but it's not great. Oh, move this monitor. Oh, now the other monitor's in the way. Yeah, it's been a ton of that stuff. And I know it's definitely not exciting or thrilling to be at like the top of the show to talk about it. But I just, I'm glad that we're at a point now where, power's in here, air's in here, insulation is done. A lot of the soundproofing is done. Like you can clap in here and you can hear the clap, but it's not reverberating, if that makes sense. You can hear a clap and then it dies. So the sound in here is a lot better than it was. Things are going great as far as that goes. Like I said, power, air, it's 72 degrees in here. You can see the mini split up there, which we will have. That'll be one of the sections of the fish room build where we'll talk about that mini split, which, by the way, I totally screwed up that video unbelievably because I originally recorded a whole intro explaining everything about the Mr. Cool, blah, 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 why I picked it, all that stuff. And I recorded it in a time lapse, which is hilarious. And a bunch of the installation part that I thought I was recording in video, turns out I was recording in time lapse. So that was fun. That was fun to discover that. Having to go back and like try and talk contextually about something that, was done a month ago is not very helpful. Terry's Tropical Tanks. Howdy, Sump Guru. What's up, Terry? How you doing, buddy? Hopefully you're doing well in your neck of the woods. Let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat real quick. Witchy Cat, Frank Dominguez. What's up, buddy? I was up in the attic on Sunday, working on some of Frank Dominguez's stuff up there. I wanted to make sure that his Wi-Fi signal was good, that things were working for Frank up there. So had to make some changes up there on Saturday. Hopefully it's working out for you, buddy. Joel G says I have a meeting at 10:30. I don't know what that means because it's 1:45, baby. So sounds like to me you got lots of time on your hands to hang out on a live stream for sure. Aubrey's here. Skog Shrimp and stuff. The Fish Fam link. Salutations. Oh, what's up, buddy? Sound is fine. Laptop or tablet for risk time? No, I honestly, I don't like laptops. I'm really not a laptop fan. I really feel like there's a lot of shortcomings with laptops, and you have to make a lot of sacrifices for it having laptop features, and I'm not a big fan. Really, really not a big fan of laptops personally, but so I don't think I'll ever spend the money on one. I don't think I ever will. It's not saying that I never will, but I don't think I ever will. You know, you never know. You never know. Maybe I'll just wild out and decide to buy one someday. I don't know. But I'm not a huge fan personally, so, you know, that's the way she goes with that. And plus, honestly, playing Risk on the mobile version, I really don't like it. And on the Risk topic, I was kind of catching heat in a friendly way, because there's a big tournament. The biggest Risk tournament apparently is coming. I think it just started. The signups ended yesterday. Apparently, the Kill Pete strategy sponsored another tournament this year with fan-backed money, and I think last I saw it was at like $2,500 for the winner or something. I don't know how they were divvying it up. I personally didn't sign up for it. One of the big reasons that I don't want to play in any of the tournaments is because they have not figured out how to stop people from cheating in that game. Hacking the game is super easy. Somebody about a week and a half ago posted a how-to onto YouTube, like how to hack online Risk, which, you know, it became a well-known video now. It's a well-known video in the Risk community, so a lot of people know how to simply download a cheat program and then just start cheating. So they still haven't figured out how to do that, and I think that without the actual company that hosts the game hosting a tournament, I really look at all of those air quote tournaments as with very high skepticism. I'm very, very skeptical about the things that are going on in that game, especially in a tournament where there's money, where people can win money, cash money, real money. I don't trust it with the way that those games are, with the way that the tournaments are hosted, because the tournaments have been fan hosted, is the easy way to explain it. And people are just playing in the play with friends setting in the game. And then it's just assumed that, like, oh, well, you know, if anybody cheats during the tournament, they'll get found out. And it's like, found out by who? The other players who, like, may or may not know that they got cheated. So it's like, once again, it like comes to the players' responsibility to figure out what's going on. And I feel like if there's going to be a tournament where people are like going around saying it's like, I'm the world champion, you know, it's like, okay, that's great if we all agree that you played in a non-cheating tournament, a cheat-free tournament, right? You know, when who won the Super Bowl last year? Kansas City Chiefs, I think Kansas City is the reigning world champion. You'd go like, well, all of the players are drug tested. There's a lot of people overseeing. There's a lot of people overseeing the NFL. There's a lot of fan eyes on it. There's a lot going on, but there's also a lot of independent people looking into what is going on in the NFL, so you wouldn't doubt that like Kansas City actually played the games, won the games, and then was the champion, right? So I don't know. Just to me, I really look at all that with like really skeptical eyes, where it's like, yeah, the fans are doing it and the fans are into it. So it's like, yeah, okay, but where's the independent body who like stands no profit from anybody winning or not winning or whatever to be the arbiter of what has actually gone on or whatnot. So and I've seen And the thing is, like, the reason that I have that skepticism has to do with how much cheating I've seen in other online game tournaments. That's why. It's not just because, like, oh, people are cheating at Risk. It's because I've seen over the decades now, as you guys know, I'm not the youngest. I'm not the youngest person around. You could probably it would be difficult for some people to call me a millennial. That's how old I am. But I'm the in between. I'm the elder millennial, right? So having been around for decades and just seeing how much people cheat on the internet, seeing how much people are incentivized to cheat on the internet, it's been going on for way too long. And like, actually, here's a perfect example that it has nothing to do with Risk or even online play. People. There's a big controversy around whether or not people are cheating at chess tournaments, right? To the point where like somebody thought that somebody had a sex toy in their what do you call it, rectum, and was getting signals from people. Like that's how crazy it is, even at that level, right? That people were trying to detect whether or not Bluetooth signals were being sent to one of the players rectally, which, so you're like, what the, and so that's why I end up, that's why I've come with the opinion that I have, is that like, man, if it's not like a really independently run tournament, then I don't trust it all that much. Rogers Aquarium says, I bet the developers are the ones that win the prizes. I don't think any of the developers have won any prizes, to be honest with you. I don't think that is the case. Although, I'm not that knowledgeable whether or not that is real or not. I don't know. But, if people are incentivized, to cheat at, like, Risk games where they're not going to make any money... then they probably will cheat at games where there is money. Does that make sense? So, yeah. Queen to Rook 4 has a whole new meaning for me now. Yeah, actually, that's the thing. And you could look that up. I forget who it was. I think it was Magnus Carlsen was playing was playing against somebody who they proposed was cheating in some fashion, and the way that they thought that they were cheating was receiving signals rectally, which is wild. And I know that there's like this is all skepticism. None of this is verified. I know that like the accused is like suing right now, but I don't know what that lawsuit would entail or not. And like I said, I haven't really even named names or anything like that. But I'm just saying, if the people are willing to go to that level of like even having the squinty-eyed skepticism, right? Like, what is going on here in chess, right? Then when it comes to people potentially cheating at an online game to win cash, I think is super possible, right? Me, half an hour. I'll tune in then. 1 hour later, crap. I need alarms, clearly. What's up, Alyssa? What are you doing? All right, we have 20,000 viewers today. People should be chatting harder and liking harder. Because I have to remind you guys to like and chat. Because 75% of what I'm doing here is like normally responding to chat. So Just a reminder, chat and stuff. I was going to turn. Actually, I can probably do the green room. It's super hard for me to look up stuff on my new setup here. It's not a new setup. Needless to say, this is the old computer. I brought it in here, and I realized a major, major issue. My old monitors are 1080p. My new monitors are 4K. And I only have 2 of each. Well, if you guys have ever set up a computer with one of the monitors at 1080p and one of the monitors at 4K, there's a whole bunch of issue with moving an application from here to there, and vice versa. And the layouts are totally crazy, and the your video card is working super hard to make sure that everything works right. Now, here's also a weird thing. 1080p monitors make me think that my eyes are broken again. They seem so hazy compared to my 4K monitors, which I've only been using my 2 4K monitors for a long time. As you got those of you that follow on Instagram, or not Instagram, on you guys are patrons or members, and you guys have Discord, and you're on our Discord. You guys have been following along with me revamping the old guest streaming computer to be the new editing computer. Well, if I'm going to be editing, I probably need a 4K monitor. So I put one of the 4K monitors there. I put the other 4K monitor here. And I was like, oh, I'll put the other 2 monitors on the side so I can use those as my file monitors. Well, they're 1080p. And it just creates all these conflicts. So it's super difficult because, like, my streaming application, if I move it over here so that I can mess with this monitor and, like, look things up on Google or whatever, it's oversized over here, so I can't utilize anything. It's super weird. But, yeah. So, I admittedly, I'm a little uncomfortable with the setup today, but it should be rectified very soon. I found one of these monitors online, so it'll match, that was used in a broken box. I don't know. Hopefully it's in good shape. We'll see when it gets here. It was supposed to get here today, and then it's been delayed. I got an email that said, it's been delayed, which is probably true if somebody was trying to bring a truck over the passes right now, because, boy howdy, I don't even know what the level of warning it is at right now. Let's see. Winter storm warning. I don't know what they call it. Is it a winter storm warning, or is it a blizzard? Looks like I'm using an ad blocker. That's right. Local news station. Let's go to the National Weather Service, because the National Weather Service doesn't care if I'm using an ad blocker. There's a blizzard warning. That's actually what we have. It's not even a winter storm warning. It's been escalated to a blizzard warning in the Cascades and the Olympics. There's a flood warning out on the peninsula. There is a winter weather advisory north central. Winter storm warning in central Washington. Western Washington currently has a high wind warning. It's going to be buck wild here very, very soon. And if you are trying to go in the mountains, I read yesterday evening that they're expected to get 80 inches of snow with 70-mile-an-hour winds. Now that is a cute coupling of weather. That is cute. Okay, guys? That's very cute. That's very cute of the weather to do that. People are going to be up in the mountains, going to be sweaty over the next 2 days, freaking out, and hopefully everybody up there stays safe. But as far as the green room goes, I think I might be able to join into the green room pretty casually here and see if this works. Okay, yeah. So the green room works. It's not the easiest to see. It's 2 o'clock. Okay, my phone just alerted me that it is 2 p.m. And I am realizing that, like, these old 1080p monitors that I have are not great in the vertical mode, because it's like
really bad. It's really bad. Yeah. So, I'm guessing that if that monitor was in a truck and it was trying to come over the Cascades, I guess that's why it's delayed. The blizzard. So, yeah. I'm expecting up to 16 inches. Inches, not feet. Yeah. The plumber who's here is not pleased with what's currently on the ground, so that sucks. Yeah, that does suck. That would be wild. 16 feet, we got about 8 to 10, I think. Could be 12. I don't have a ruler to check. Yeah, I recently had looked up the biggest snowfall, and I believe that the biggest snowfall I could find was Mount Rainier snow record, which I think was 1,500 inches. The Paradise area of Mount Rainier elevation is known for its snowfall. Paradise once held the world record for measured snowfall in a single year, 1,122, but I think that's 1971-72, so that's not even right because, well, that is right for 1971-72, but I think in like one they had 1,500 one year. Okay, that's Paradise, not Paradise. Where was this? Photo of Mount Rainier taken by Dr. Samuel. Washington's Mount Rainier is either the snowiest place on Earth or a close runner-up. From records collected over the past century, the average annual snowfall at Rainier's Paradise area is nearly 640 inches, more than 53 feet, which is buck wild, dude. Catherine Thomas talking about the weather. Is Washington going to get snowed under? Yeah, the Cascades are and stuff. And then Western Washington's going to get super cold. It's going to be 1 degree on Friday or something. I forget. It's going to be cold. Maybe 10? Maybe 10 degrees? I don't know. It's going to be cold. For those in Celsius, that's less than 0. I don't know. -10 or something. I don't know. Where was that? I read it somewhere that they got 1,500 inches of snow. But this is saying differently. But this is Paradise. Let's see here. Which is crazy because it was like, if it was 1,500 inches, that's like over 100 feet of snow. 100 feet of snow. This is that same goofy website. I mean, the annual snowfall, average snowfall on Mount Rainier is 645 inches. Yeah, either way, Mount Rainier gets a lot of snow. I don't know. Let's just move on. But I saw somewhere that they got 1,500 inches one year. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look that up some other time. I'll look it up some other time when we're not streaming. Okay? Yeah, moving on. So, I don't envy you. We're going to be in the 40s and 50s all week. Yeah, here's the thing. Like last week. Oh, crap. I just hit an F button. I don't know which F button I pushed or if we activated anything. I don't know. We'll find out. Although like a week ago it was like 60 degrees out. Maybe a week and a half ago. I might be off. But Catherine Thomas is in COVID isolation through the end of the weekend. We'll do one Target pickup midweek and just bundle up inside. Yeah. I mean, well, hopefully your indoors have air and power. It's going to be very windy here lower at the lower elevations. So there is a worry that things are going to blow over and power be out for a little while. That is a concern. And it has been raining. It's trying to catch up. We were in like kind of a drought situation. And so it's trying to catch up now is basically what it's doing. What's our wind advisory? It starts tomorrow at 4 a.m. until 10 at night. Wind advisory. Let's go to it. Let's see how windy it's supposed to be. Southwest winds 25 to 35 with gusts up to 45 down here. So it's not too, I mean, it's windy for sure, but it's not 60, 70 or any of that stuff like it's going to be up in the mountains. Yeah, but with all this rain and then wind, what ends up happening is trees fail. Trees end up failing to do what they're supposed to do, which is not fall over. Not falling over is like their sort of primary thing that they're supposed to be doing. And with that craziness, sometimes they fall over. And then they knock over power and things like that, and that kind of sucks. Aquatic Fanatics UK, 100 feet. My boss would be like, "You're still coming in today, right?" Yeah, I'm well acquainted with that scenario, my friend. Where was my stream window? See, that's what I'm saying. Like, things are different today, and I can't figure out where my stream window is. Oh, it's over here. 48,000 people watching today. That's exciting. We should get some new members and new patrons, right? But yeah, I've definitely been down that road. I remember one day, 1 year, it snowed about 2 feet. It came in, it dumped, and then it stayed cold. And so it didn't melt off. Oftentimes in Western Washington, when it snows, we have a snow event, it'll like warm up the next day or whatever, and a lot of it will start to melt off, and then it's not so much of a big deal. But there was it dumped like 1.5 feet, 2 feet. You know, does it really matter at that point if it was 16 inches or 18 inches? I mean, you know, these things only matter in extremes, right? Either way, bunch of snow, cooled off, and stayed cold, so the snow didn't go anywhere. Which is funny because I worked for a restaurant that was in a part of town no one was going to visit. Like, no one was going to be visiting that part of town with all the snow. Needless to say, it was in a downtown corridor with really steep hills around it. Okay, so there wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on in the downtown area when there's that much snow. Big slippery hills. It's not like people were driving down there, and a lot of the buses and things like that were still running, but like seriously delayed and on like winter routes and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was like, dude, what are we doing? Oh, we gotta be open. We got to be open, chef. So I literally like every day I had to hike, like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 miles in like the 1.5 foot snow all the way down and then back. Because like I said, like the buses weren't running. And at the time I didn't drive. At the time I wasn't driving because I lived in an area where you just really didn't need to have a car. So my truck was just parked. And like I didn't have tabs on it, and I hadn't driven it, and I eventually sold it to somebody. And so like at the time I wasn't driving, didn't really have a need for driving, wasn't really doing it, so didn't really have that. So the opportunity was like, oh, the buses don't exist. I can't ride my bike because often most of those days that I was going into work, I'd like ride my bicycle. It's much better. It's much better to ride your bicycle into work. You get a little bit of a workout. It's fun. It's a thrill. It's a thrill. It's exciting, right? And So the option was to walk. And so I just had to hike in the snow down and back and down and back and down and back until finally, it warmed up and the roads were open and, the buses were back working and stuff like that. So I could just hop on the bus, which felt like an extreme luxury at the time. But yeah, nowadays I live in an area where you just got to drive all the time. So constantly driving my truck around. Should I tarp the goldfish pond? No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, the temperature has to really reach a really extreme cold to really like affect the goldfish, because frozen pond or whatever, they just swim lower. And they're just not going to be bothered by it. So yeah, I really wouldn't worry about it that much. 45 mile per hour. They are saying the turbine is going to be annoying AF. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Witchy Cat has power generating turbine up on her roof, and that thing is going to be spinning, creating all sorts of power. I don't know if it's power that you'll need, but it's going to be doing it. Bicycle would be cool, but I love working from home now. Yeah, that's the thing. I would much rather, and I've said this before on streams and stuff, it's not a secret, like I would like to just be creating content. Like I'd like that to be my main job. Although I like being a contractor and I love building stuff, I would like to just be building stuff and creating content with that. And if I stream 3 or 4 days a week or 2 days a week or whatever, like I'd like to do that too. I like the work from home aspect. Some of the woodworking projects I've been working on are just a reminder that, like, it would be nice to just be working in a wood shop that was out back, So the goals are to try and do that. It's another reason why I built this studio space, so I can really start hammering down on making fish tank content for you guys, and, building stuff content and that kind of crap, and try and, make a run at it. There was a point in time where I realistically should have just kept to creating content and not bothered to. I should have never bothered to put in my time. Essentially helping other people, other like business people. That's what I should have done. I should have just said no. Realistically, in hindsight, I should have just said no. I don't want to have anything to do with this. This is nonsense, and just stayed an independent guy. But with COVID and all that stuff going on, it really, I think it swayed my opinion as to what was going on at the time, and we lost so many patrons. We lost so many YouTube members. We lost all that stuff with the pandemic. When the pandemic happened, that it was like, a secure work situation is probably better. And realistically, I shouldn't have done that. I realistically should have said, you know what? I'm still wanting to do the content creation. That's what I want to do. I want to be somebody who's making short films and stuff like that, and I should have just stuck with it. But hindsight's 2020. Can't change the past, and I'm not even claiming that I probably would change the past if I could, because lesson learned, and gonna just move on and do the things I got to do now in order to accomplish those goals. So I'm just gonna keep doing that and moving forward. My work very politely kicked me out of the office in March 2020 with IT's phone number and a laptop, and they haven't needed me back in the office more than 5 times a year since then. Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, that's how it's worked out. That's how it's worked out for Vicky. They kept saying that, like, we're going to go back to the office. We're going to go back to the office. But then the reality is, like, most of the work that a lot of the people there are doing, that there's just not a real reason for them to be there's not a real reason for them to be doing in-office meetings and stuff like that, when most of it can be accomplished online through Zoom and whatever. I don't even know I don't even know what apps they use, but whatever app they're using is sufficient to accomplish those meetings and all that stuff that they need to. And there's just really not a reason to be paying all that money for that big giant office building that they built that they don't really use now anymore. But from my understanding, they put workers that need to be in a building in that building now, so they are getting use out of it. But not necessarily for what Vicky does. Your planet tanks are next level. Well, thank you very much. I definitely work on them. It's something that I'm pretty passionate about. It's something that I love spending time on. I think that at the beginning of my interacting with certain corporate entities into networking and potentially getting exposure into like working out some kind of deal that could mean that I would be able to make fish tank content, like for a company or with a company or be sponsored by a company. I think that my initial take on that situation was not accurate to reality. I think at the time, my interpretation was, people will see talent and they will want talent to sign on, or they will want to pay talent to create stuff for them or whatnot. And it turns out that was completely not true. The reality that corporate entities see is they go, who has already made the thing that we want? And the thing that they want is a captive audience, is what they want. They want somebody to have built a advertising audience. That's what they want. They go, hey, how are you going to, we want to get more customers, regardless of whatever it is that they do. Do you have customers? No? Okay, never mind then. And then we'll go to somebody else. Now, the funny thing is that if you are somebody, for instance, that has a YouTube channel with like 1 million subscribers or 100 million views a month or whatever the number is, the only thing that you are selling them is not your ability, not your interests, not your expertise, not any of that stuff. The only thing that you are selling them is your audience. That is it, plain and simple. Plain and simple, what you are selling is your audience to them. And you are essentially renting out your audience's time to a corporate entity so that they can be seen for whatever it is, waffles, razors, insurance, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the corporation is selling. Hold on. Excuse me. That's all that they are willing and want to pay out money for, is just renting brain space of your audience, right? And I think I kind of went in a little bit naive, or maybe not naive, maybe sort of seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. At the time, this is before I had a child, and into the beginning of having a child and worrying about that stuff. But at the time, I think I was much earlier in my sobriety, in my recovery, and I was sort of seeing the world as like, yeah, people do intend to do good things. And the reality is that people do intend to do good things in the world, and they want to do good things in the world. Corporations aren't people, okay? Corporations are a structured business to extract money from the workers and from their customers, and that's it. That's all that it's supposed to do. So when you wonder of like, why would somebody like Jeff Bezos make decisions that are negative for the environment, negative for the population, negative for their customers, all that stuff? It's because the corporate structure demands that of the people that are all working there, right? Now, Could Jeff Bezos change that? Yes, Jeff Bezos could change that. He chooses not to, so that's where the villainy is. But when you're dealing with like Bezos's like 50th in command or something like that, I bet you that person does have a lot of power and a lot of access and a lot of this and a lot of that. But they aren't able to make a specific decision based on their conscience. They're able to make a decision based on what the corporation wants and demands of them and their position within that company, right? And so, yeah, as Aubrey says, nothing personal, just business. And so the reality is that like I ran into that situation a lot, over and over again, which was like, oh, well, like how many subscribers do you have? Well, what does that matter? Like you want the content to be made and you want it to be organic and you want it to be able to be shared out, right? Because, the reality is that like, let's say you have 500,000 subscribers, they're not all going to watch it, but once the content exists, those 500,000 people could share it with potentially 2 million people. And a perfect example of that would be this last weekend when Cat Williams, the comedian, went on to the Club Shay Shay. If you don't know who that is, Shannon Sharp, formerly NFL football superstar tight end, right, has a YouTube show based off of him having like shows on ESPN and stuff like that. He started a YouTube show where he's like interviewing people, and one of the people that came on was Cat Williams, and Cat Williams had a whole lot of things to say about stuff that had been said about him on those previous interviews, right? So naturally sparks a giant fire on the internet, and it goes out to 100 million people as opposed to the normal 1 million people that Club Shay Shay goes out to, or 10 million or 5 million or however many people their average viewership is, but it goes out to 100 million people or 200 million people, and it's been the talk of the town or whatever. But if the advertisers that are on Club Shay Shay, they weren't ever signing up for the 100 million. They were signing up for the guaranteed like 900,000 or whatever the normal number is, and they're just essentially renting the time. My interpretation was, if the content is made and it's a thing that you like, that you would have the potential of doing the 100 million contacts, right? And that companies would want to be spending advertising money on the potential of advertising that could potentially bring in a whole bunch new customers, like just boatloads of new customers. And that's sort of the interpretation in the past of, oh, hey, we're going to advertise on the Super Bowl because there's just all these eyes that are going to be on it, and we're going to get exposed to all these new people. And if they make the commercial and it's really cool, people could put it up on YouTube, and then potentially it goes out to a whole nother audience that didn't even watch the Super Bowl, right? And it could just keep going and keep going and keep going, and it would be fantastic. And whatever, what company? A company that sells air. They'd be like, oh my God, people are going to be into air. It's going to be wild. People are going to love it. We could go out there and go viral because we put The Rock, what is it? Rock the Dwayne Johnson and Tom Cruise or whatever in their advertisement, right? And so my thought process at the time is like, oh, companies would want to sponsor that content being made with the potential of it being sort of an everlasting thing, right? And that's not the case. It turns out, like, all those meetings I went to and stuff like that with all sorts of weirdos and all this and that and the other thing, it turns out all they want to do is rent your audience. They want to pay you for the for renting your audience because of the numbers that you can show them are like, mostly male 18 to 35 audience, right? Or mostly female 59 to 84 years old, right? Because they just have a specific demographic that they want to hammer down on because of a perceived like guaranteed return on their investment, right? And, you know, if they're able to do that with like an advertising team, they're able to keep all the content, they're able to keep all this stuff, and essentially work them like employees and stuff. And so, you know, there was a couple of deals that were on the table that I thought were going to be the kickoff deal. And the reality was I just had to lean into hoping that like people wanted to sponsor my content. And it's been pretty up and down with like how I've been able to spend my time and my energy and be trying to like make content. And I think this year is going to be a wild, it's going to be a wild run. So I would sort of like remind people that like this year is going to be wild. I don't think that there's any level of like calmness to my life other than like I just have to exist in a calm way. So I'm going to continue to do that. That's like basically the only thing that I can do. But I will say that Cat Williams interview was hilarious. I listened to it on my headphones while I was working on a project, and I got to admit, it's pretty funny. Like all the people that he called out, all the people that he called out, whatnot was pretty hilarious. Although, speaking of fan-sponsored things, we got a $300 super chat from Witchy Cat, which thank you very much. That is very generous. He's gone red as apparently we've liked to colloquially respond to that. It's gone red. You've gone red. I wish there was a plaid, because I would be interested to see somebody go plaid, Spaceball style. But you've gone all the way to red. It says, because I won't be able to spend elsewhere this week. Fish-related questions. Which tank are we going to see first, do you think? It's going to be one of the 120s. One of the 120s will be the first one. Probably the one that's further away from me than where I'm sitting. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but, you know. But, yeah, it'll be the one that's further away from me. But eventually, as the cameras, I'm going to be able to move them around. I actually have a fish tank that's straight behind where Chad is right now. So I'll be able to have a camera here and just have that fish tank in the background of the shot if I feel like it. If I feel like that tank should be in the background of the live stream, I could just be able to move the camera right over there and then have it in the background. And that's also kind of the upside of like how I've been trying to work in this studio of like setting things up so that the right things are in the background of the shot. Even down to the choices in the paint that I did. The paint was actually a recommended studio color tones basically for studios. And for reasons that are probably too nerdy to talk about, but they're very easy to backlight with LED lights and have them look like a whole different background. Although I do have the green screen, so in the future I'll be able to... I bought a green screen a long time ago, and it's a wonderful green screen. You can open it and close it. And I'm likely... My initial plan was to mount it to the ceiling so that I could pull it down and then put it back up. I don't think it's tall enough to do that. It doesn't reach down from the ceiling far enough. So, you know, got to change plans. Like, change plans once again. But, so I will have the green screen, so I'll be able to just do a silhouette of myself. And that'll be a feature in the future. Like I said, early in the stream, I'm also going to try and have no microphone in the shot. So, and I've tested it out, and it seems to work. The only downside is that you got to remember to charge everything, which shouldn't be too much of a problem to remember. Like, take the lav off, plug it in, and go from there. But we'll see how well that works. I don't know if we'll be doing streams later in the future, and the microphone will just die, and then it would be, you know, people would be trying to scream at me in the chat, and then we wouldn't, even know what was going on for a while. Carson Anderson, what's up, buddy? Carson, how you doing? I've always had aquariums, but I only ever saw plants as tank garnish until I saw your 240, and I was like, I need to do that. Well, thanks. Yeah, I think you know, when I was younger, I didn't even know that like aquascaping was a thing, and I don't think I knew until like my 20s that like building an aquascape was actually a thing. I just always assumed that like some plants in an aquarium, like, okay, you know, but I didn't realize that it was a feature, and I didn't realize that it was a feature like for the health of the fish and everything that was in there, which it very much is. And I think it was like my early 20s, I think, when exposed to that, you know, that like, oh, what? Okay. Uh-oh, Fish Tropic Canada is here with the sunglasses wearing smiley emoji. What's going on in Canada? I bet it's cold in Canada. I wonder what the weather's like up there. Freakishly cold and windy. Let's look across Canada. Prince George, -4. Vancouver, 3. Calgary, -3. Regina, Saskatoon, -19. Winnipeg, -14. Toronto, 3. Ottawa, -2. St. John, -3. Halifax, -7. Whitehorse, -13. Yellowknife, -31, you weirdos. My God. What is going on in Yellowknife? But Yellowknife is like, it's like Santa Claus's house. You know, you're in the Arctic, so that does make sense. Is that the Arctic? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Yellowknife in the Arctic? Let's look it up. Is Yellowknife in the Arctic Circle? Arctic Circle. We're going to find out. The city of Yellowknife is the capital of the Northwest Territories and the territory's only city. It sits on the Canadian Shield on the north shore of Great Slave Lake? Great Slave Lake? Slav? I don't know. I don't know if they would call it Great Slave Lake, but I guess that's what they're calling it. I was thinking maybe it's like Russian or Slave or something. I don't know, but never heard of the Great Slave Lake, and about 400 kilometers south of the Arctic Circle. Hot damn. They're south. They're not even in the Arctic Circle. They're 400 freaking kilometers away. Yellowknife is officially in the subarctic region of Canada. Okay. You learn something new every day, dudes. Here's the Arctic Circle. Let's take a look. What's it? What towns are in there? We got to zoom in, bros. We got to enhance. What is this? We don't want that. Go down. Scroll down. What? I'm not a Canadian. I'm not going to take a citizen challenge contest. What the hell is that? Victoria Island? Banks Island? Oh, man, I don't even know how to say this town in Greenland. Scoresbeduns? I don't even know how to say that. Scoresbeduns? I don't know. What's that red line? What does that red line mean? Arctic Circle appears blue on this map. The Arctic region is often defined as that area where the average temperature... What's this red line on this thing? Hey. Nome, Alaska is not even in the Arctic Circle. I thought it was. God damn, just learning geography today so hard. Learning so much geography. Learning so much geography is gonna blow your freaking minds, dude. Let's see. Prudhoe Bay and Barrow. I knew those were in the Arctic Circle. Arctic Circle. About Smokes and Whitehorse. May not sound like a big deal, but I grew up outside of Chicago, so it was a trip. That's a hell of a trip. I don't know if you can you fly to Whitehorse? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can now. Can you fly to Whitehorse or Yellowknife? I think you can fly. Let's look. Let's look up Whitehorse. Oh my God, there are airplanes that fly there. There's a local airplane that flies there. God, from the local airport. I could just drive over to the local airport and fly to freaking Whitehorse. Economy. Round trip. Show flights. How mucho? $800. Okay. $800 is too much for for jokes, right? Oh yeah. Maybe if we change the date. Let's see what the price. Ooh. It went up. Let's get over to Monday. Oh, dude, why is my return flight so far? Okay, here we go. Tuesday's normally good for flying? No, that price didn't go down. I mean, it's pretty expensive to go to Whitehorse right now if you want to fly there. February is pretty expensive. All right, well. Let's see, flights. Let's go here. Whitehorse. Oops, I pushed the wrong thing. There we go. Search. Oh, no. We want any time. How do we do that? Round trip. Oh, if we go on here, we get a full looky-loo here. In 86, I drove from Chicago to Delta Junction, Alaska. Oh, wow. That's a hell of a drive. During the 86 gas crisis? Oh, my God. Where I think wasn't gas crazy in 1986? Terry, you're showing your age. If you were driving in 1986, people are going to figure out how old you are, buddy. Buddy. It looks like the prices to Whitehorse, Canada are pretty stagnant. Cheapest to fly would be June 18th, June 25th. Like $700, 600, 680. So, don't think I'll be flying up there anytime soon. I don't think I'd be able to go into Canada. They probably wouldn't let me. They'd keep me detained at the airport. Would be my guess. But guess what? This year I get to go in and apply and see if I can get my perms. If I can get full perms to Canada. Can I get full perms to Canada? We'll see. We'll see if I can get those permissions. Perms, baby. Am I allowed? I don't know. Let's see. Listen, Bentley, did you get your shrimp delivery delayed? Delivery? Oh, I didn't order any shrimp. Oh, there was a bit of a shrimp situation. One of the shrimp suppliers, or one of the local, or not local, one of the fish companies sent out shrimp with L-biopsidae, which is It's deadly to shrimp, and it will spread like herpes to everyone that it comes in contact with it. When it comes to shrimp, they're going to come in contact with it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a big pain in the ass to treat because you got to feed treated. You have to treat the food that the shrimp are going to eat. You do malachite green onto the shrimp food, let it dry, and then feed the shrimp food to the shrimp, and they all need to ingest it to kill off the Elobiopidae. And good luck. But it is it's basically a death sentence for your shrimps. Not good. It looks like your shrimps have lots of bright neon green eggs, which none of the shrimp have bright neon green eggs. Back in 2001, we had to boat in a friend for a fishing trip on Lake of the Woods because Canada wouldn't let him in. I've been turned away. Luckily, I was in a situation where I didn't fly in. I drove to the border, and they were like, I don't think so. Not so good. And I was like, oh. So I just left the other way on the ground back. I just stayed in the States, actually. Technically, I just stayed in the States the whole time. Oh, the ones for works? Yeah, they have multiple tanks, and ours didn't have Elobiopidae on them. Oh. Well, that's good. I would treat for it anyhow. I think if it's coming from a known source. Not really. It's been unusually warm this year. From Sarah Baker up in Canada. Yeah, it's been like unusually warm. It's El Nino year, so it has been. It's been fairly warm here, realistically. Also, so yeah. And I feel like all this rain that's happening is just like trying to catch up. So we can see like how much rain have we gotten this year? Since January 1, we've only got 1.1 inches at SeaTac, which, I don't know. Since October 1st, we've got 18 and a quarter. Normal value, 17 and a quarter. So we've got an extra inch. So maybe it's not even as dramatic as I think that it's, but it seems to be catching up because we had a lot of dry time. So I feel like the deluge has been coming, just catching up to be above normal now. Okay. Yeah. Snowfall yesterday, 2.7. That's it? Okay. Weird. Oh, no. Record. Okay. Yesterday, 0. Record, 2.7. Okay. In 1980. The year of our Lord. 1980. 'Twas a fine year. Created lots of fine specimens. Dirty hillbillies everywhere. Yeah, we're having a series of 3 storm systems coming through Ontario, and tomorrow is supposed to dump 30 millimeters plus rain tomorrow night. Then on top of Friday, a dumping of snow. Yeah, it does suck when it goes snow, rain, snow. Snow, rain, snow is ridiculous, dude. That is a ridiculous bummer. Ridiculous bummer, my dude. Don't like that very much. It was funny. One of our friends of the family, the parents, well, one of the parents is from, Florida. So Florida man was asking about snow and whatever. That was the discussion. We were talking about it. And, the thing is I was like, yeah, the snow's not bad because it has a tendency to melt. It doesn't like hang around a really long time, so it actually is a lot of fun when it snows here because things just get super chill for like a day or two. And then it starts to melt off and the road's kind of clear and everybody kind of goes back to normal, and then there's like snow sitting on people's lawns and stuff like that. So the events here, we don't like get snowed in So it's not really that big of a bummer. But one year, we had this snowstorm followed by a really bad freezing rainstorm. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that before, but it just meant that there was like 4 inches of ice, like super slippery ice, because it fell as rain and froze, right? And it just kept doing it until there was like 4 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. It was super thick, and it was all over everything. So the power lines all got pulled down, stuff like that. So that the freezing rain can suck it, because that was like 2 weeks of mayhem. It was just ridiculous. Because even when it like started to warm up a little bit, the power was still out. Because I remember like the power was out for like 8 days or something crazy like that. It was just whack. And the places I was staying were not designed for extensive power outage situation. Whereas nowadays, like, I don't think it would be too big of a deal here. Like, I own a generator now. We actually have a travel trailer. So if the power was out for 8 days here, like, there's potential damage that could come to the house, like the pipes freezing. But we would probably just stay in the trailer, right? We probably would just, like, stay in the trailer if the house really wasn't able to do it. But we have a fireplace here. You know, this house would be way better to deal with if the power was out for like 8 days. Plus, like I said, we had a generator. We have a generator and stuff here, so technically, it's suboptimal, not perfect, but it's like we could deal with it a lot better. Like I said, it's suboptimal, but we could deal with it. Snow and volcanoes in 1980. That's right. Mount St. Helens blew up. I'm just glad our power lines are underground, less power failure. Yeah, I mean, we have a mixture of above ground and below ground. Just depends on kind of like where you are, especially where you are in the States, for sure. But yeah, you know, we have stuff in ground, we have stuff on poles, we have stuff all over the place. We have a mixture of everything here on the old US of A. Seattle snow days were awesome, unless you had to drive up First Hill. Nothing scarier than seeing that articulated bus sliding back at you on a 10% grade. Yeah, I will tell you, those articulated buses and those ice storms, snowstorms, stuff like that, doing the taco thing on a big hill, it's pretty freaky. I definitely would stay away from those big hills as much as possible. Although I did see one time I was hiking to work in the big snow, and I did see some pretty wild car accident in the snow on Aurora there. And it's because somebody just like came down one of those hills off of Queen Anne and just slid right out into the road, and somebody just straight up T-boned him. Pretty wild. Catherine Thomas says, "Is this Celsius or Fahrenheit?" It's hard to say when things are Celsius or Fahrenheit, but when you get into the negatives, I think regardless, it's cold. Yeah. I think whenever you get into negative temperature numbers, Celsius or Fahrenheit, it's just cold either way. So, yeah. Although Celsius -3 versus Fahrenheit -3 are pretty different, but either way, cold, I guess. Happened to me. Charter bus was hanging over I-5 full of Job Corps kids. Oh, I remember when that charter bus... Were you on that charter bus? I remember when that charter bus was hanging over I-5. Still doesn't beat the train coming off and hitting cars. Yeah, students scream as bus crashed through I-5 barrier. Yeah, I remember this. I don't know if I can share this. Let me see. I don't know if I'm able. That's more the deal. It's not so much like, am I allowed? It's like, I don't even know if I can, but we might as well try it. Let's see if we can do it. We can sort of. Okay, here we go. Here's that article. Packed with students ready for the holidays, 2 chartered buses headed downtown Friday on Seattle's icy, snowy streets. This is 2008. The driver had taken the buses weighing tens of thousands of pounds down East Thomas Street because it is part of a loop used by buses exiting northbound Interstate I-5 onto Olive Way. They can't turn left where Olive Way crosses Denny. Suddenly, I was watching the cars drive below us, said Jesse Till, a 20-year-old passenger who was on the phone with his mother at the time. The 2 Northwestern Trailway buses slid down the snow-covered cobblestones of East Thomas on Capitol Hill and smashed into each other, careening through a guardrail on Melrose Avenue East, 20 to 30 feet above I-5. Yeah, I remember this. So yeah, you can see the bus like over the guardrail and hanging over the freeway, because that's the freeway down there. And yeah, pretty wild. Carson was on that bus. That train was epic. I was on that bus in the photo. Oh my God. I didn't even know that, Carson. I'm learning something new about you every day, buddy. Just Bob is going to bed. Have fun. Well, all right. We'll try. We'll see if we can. Now that you're leaving, I don't know what we're going to do. How can we continue to have fun? How can we continue to have fun if all the viewers leave because they insist on sleeping? You know, I mean, come on, guys. What do you got to sleep for? Sleep is for the weak, right? There was a third that didn't go down. Oh, okay. Was it like, it sounded like a bus tried to stop. It sounds like the first bus stopped, but then the second bus didn't stop, and then they just pushed each other. Like the back bus did a tush push on the front bus. Back bus, front bus. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But yeah, I remember that happening. That was pretty funny. I don't think anybody got hurt, right? So that's why it's funny. The train one's tragic because the train just fell onto the freeway, and I don't remember how many people. All right, let's find out. Where was that? Let's see if we can find it. The lead locomotive and all 12 cars derailed at 7:30. Spam call. A spam person's calling me. I'll get rid of that. Local time, when approaching the bridge over Interstate 5, the train locomotive remained on the rails. Yeah, how many people? Oh, oh my God, only 3 people. I thought it was more. Yeah, 2017, the DuPont train derailment. There we go. Yeah, this was like just south of my house. This happened my old house down in Tacoma. Yeah, this was horrible. So 3 people on the train passed away. Did everyone in the cars survived? Let's see. 7 vehicles, including 2 trucks, were damaged by the derailed cars of the train. The southbound train was operating from Seattle to Portland on the first revenue service run of the Cascades on the new, faster Point Defiance bypass route between Lacey and Tacoma. Here we go. There were 5 Amtrak employees, a technician from train manufacturer Talgo, and 77 passengers on board the train at the time of the derailment. 3 passengers were killed, while 57 more passengers and crew members were injured. 8 road vehicles were damaged in the incident. Of the 10 people in them, 8 were injured. All 3 deceased were in the 7th coach of the train. 10 of the injured were in serious condition, and 13 had moderate or minor injuries. In total, more than 80 people were injured. Treatment was provided at hospitals including Madigan Army Medical Center at JBLM, Providence. Okay, we don't need to read all that. All 3 passengers killed in the derailment were train enthusiasts, including 2 members of rail advocacy group All Aboard Washington. Wow, that is wild. I didn't realize that was train enthusiasts that. Oh my God. Man, imagine being a train enthusiast and that's how you die in a train crash. That's buck wild. Oh, the second bus slid off and hit the next section of guardrail 10 feet over. Oh, crazy. Oh, Alyssa just found more bristlenose eggs. That's not a shocker. I bought a discus tank, 55 gallon, 6 discus, 15 Stairby, 3 plecos, 2 Siamese algae eaters. Nice. That's not bad. Sounds like a good mix of fish, honestly. And everybody at some point, I think if you're a freshwater aquarium enthusiast, should do a discus tank at some point. I think that should be a bucket list item for all freshwater fish keepers, I think, personally. Skog Shrimp and Stuff said, "Dang, Witchy going into the red deep this week." That's right. We're going red. We're going red on the super chat. Oh, you can't give it all to the plumber? You got to watch out for plumbers. Sometimes they'll come up with some crazy prices on their work. And you're like, dude, you glued some PVC together, man. Can we chill? But other times, they're surprisingly cheap. I think, honestly, it's kind of a crapshoot with plumbers. You just never know what you're going to get. Hopefully, you got a reputable? Yeah. With high reputation? Trustworthy. I don't know. Plumber up there. Yeah, and I guess one of the reasons I was talking about the trains and the buses and stuff like that, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the Boeing planes, the 737s that have been grounded. I don't know if you guys saw this in the news, but a door plug, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with what a door plug is that like, and to tie into the earlier conversation that like corporations will strictly make decisions based on making money. That's it. And that's the only thing. That's the only consideration. Well, a door plug is, depending on how many passengers a plane is set up to do, a plane is supposed to have X amount of emergency exit doors. Well, airline companies will decide, oh, we're going to have X amount of people on this plane, which means we only need to have X amount of doors. So what they do is they eliminate the door with the door plug. So there's supposed to be a door there, but they put a door that's not a door in the hole, essentially. It's called a door plug. Just plugs up the hole. They put it in there. And it's because they don't want to maintain a door. As you guys know, because you guys are smart. You guys are smart as shit. You're the smartest MFers around. That if you have a door on an airplane, it needs to be maintained and inspected on a regular basis. If you have a door plug in that hole, you don't need to inspect or maintain it, or in a as costly way. Maybe you only have to inspect it once a year, maybe once 2 years. I don't know what the regulation is on it, but it's less than the operational doors need to be inspected and maintained. So that's why they put those door plugs in there. It's strictly just a cost shaving motivation. That's it. And do they pass that cost shaving on to you? Probably not. I can't verify one way or another. But I think you guys know that the hot take on that is that I'm sure that they aren't. But needless to say, they cut the expenditures down by doing less inspections on door plug holes, right? Now, what makes it really costly is that door plug failed, causing, what do you call it? Decompression? Is that right? I don't know. What do you call that? When a plane loses cabin pressure, total loss of cabin pressure is called something. What do you call that? Either way, the cabin loses pressure. You guys know what I'm talking about. And you have to put on your oxygen mask, and then you got to take the plane down to 10,000 feet, and then you got to fly back to the closest place and land as soon as possible. And yeah, so it's weird that like at 36,000 feet, you would it would cause you delirium in seconds and knock you out in under a minute. Like that's how little air there is up there. So you better get your oxygen mask on super quick. Decompression? Was that right? Yeah, I don't know. Either way, they lost cabin pressure. The door plug flew out, and it ultimately is going to cause something that I think is going to be very interesting. Because there were kids on that plane, it was observed that there were 3 infants just sitting on people's laps. There were apparently a kid in the row where the door plug pulled out. Now, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it was reported that at the time of decompression, it ripped the shirt off of the kid out the plane. So what I think is going to happen is there's soon going to be a requirement for kids to have car seats on the airplane, have their seatbelt on at all times, or like a 5-point harness or something like that. The days of being able to just take your kid with you on a plane is going to 100% fundamentally change moving forward from this event. I think this is going to be a pivotal moment in airplane travel that is going to fundamentally change what it is like for every person that has to fly with a kid forever. I think this will be the point in time where you will be able to point back to that, like, oh, before January whatever 2024, you didn't have to have a car seat or a 5-point harness for your kid being on an airplane. So I think there will be some kind of crazy thing that comes from this, and I don't know what it's going to look like, but I guarantee you, from all of the flights that I've taken, all the airports I've been to, all the TSA checkpoints, blah, 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 all that crap, I guarantee you 100% it is going to be the most additionally inconvenient thing that they can add. There's no way this is going to go smoothly. It is not going to be fun. It's not going to be great, and it's definitely going to change fundamentally how it is to fly with a kid. It's going to be buck wild, dude. And what's going to come of that? I don't know, because we fly with Olivia, and we have to. I don't know if you guys know this, but when we fly with Olivia places, we have to take her car seat because, like, whenever we go somewhere, you can't count on anyone having a car seat wherever you go. And we're invariably going to ride or drive in some kind of vehicle, and they're probably not going to have a car seat. And on top of it, the 1 or 2 times that we thought, oh, we'll just get a rental or something with a car seat, like, I forget where we went, like Missouri or some shit. I don't know where we went. We went somewhere, and the rental company didn't have a car seat when we were there. So we just we're like, what the fuck? Like, what do we do? They're like, I don't know, you have to get a car seat. So we had to go through this whole rigmarole of like getting a car seat. Oh, maybe we were in Alaska or something. I don't know. I don't know where the hell we were. Somebody came and brought us a car seat. But it was hours and hours and hours and hours of just like, what the fuck, man? This is crazy. The only way would be if the airline supplied the seats, then no TSA worries with them. Yeah, here's the problem. What happens when you're going to go get on the plane, right? And they don't have enough car seats for the kids, for however many kids are going to be on the plane. Do they have enough car seats for every seat? For every plane? Everywhere? At every airport? I'm telling you, it is going to be an absolute clusterfuck. You would have to have enough of these airplane car seats for kids everywhere at every airport. Like, dude, nowadays they don't even have enough. They don't even have enough of those, like bus tubs. I don't know if you ever worked at a restaurant. If you ever worked at a restaurant, they have these plastic bins called bus tubs. They're like the same thing they have at the airport where you stick all your shit in. You put your bag in there. You put your backpack in there. You put your jacket in there, your keys, whatever, and they run that thing through the through the X-ray to see if you have, I don't know, like too many dildos or whatever in your carry-on. But here's the thing. There's no uniform bus tub bin. Every place you go, every airport you go to, it is a completely different system. It's completely different bins. It's completely different machines. Everyone's trained all differently. Everyone acts all fucking differently, like wherever you go. And they always try to claim that like their airport is like, oh, well, we're different than everybody else. And you're like, why? Why the fuck are all of these airports different than all the other ones? Like, there's no uniformity to it. You go to different countries, it's completely different. If you go state to state, it's completely different. It is chaotically stupid at all the airports. Actually, one of the funny things was like one of the airports we were in Peru, like the airport just closed. They're like, yeah, we just fucking close at night because there's just yeah, whatever. We close. We're open in the morning, and then they they roll out like the positions of where the stuff is, like if you're Alaska or US or whatever airline, I don't fucking care, Delta, I don't know. They're all in a different spot because they all have rolling carts. I don't, you know. And then it's like you go through the TSA there, and it's like, take your shoes off, or put your shoes on, or take your belt off, or don't take anything off. We're just gonna X-ray your entire existence. Just gets fucking, you like cancer, don't you? So yeah, there's no way like any of this stuff is going to work at all. At all. Like, because somehow every airport, every airline, all of these airlines, everything, they're all going to like, they're gonna get this. They're gonna get it. It's just gonna work. It's not gonna be a problem. That's fucking crazy. There's no way. There's just no way. Even if they came up with a system where you would like put which passenger's going to be a kid, which seat it's going to be in. So like, do you have to have employees install the seats? Because what is it? 90% of, we'd have to look this up. Hold on. So there's like a percentage. 631 of the 711 child passenger vehicle occupants aged 12 and younger who were killed in car crashes in 2021 were because their seats were installed fucking incorrectly. Yeah. Car seat safety seats. Car crashes. The number one killer. Yeah, here it is. The number one killer of kids in car seats is because they've been installed incorrectly or done incorrectly. Or they were not buckled up at all. Okay, that's the other 36%. Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's because the car seat was put in wrong. And even, like, here's what's funny. So when you have a kid at the hospital and you have to put they before you can leave with the kid, you with whatever kid you have, I don't whatever kind of kid you have. Maybe you have an alien space child that is 12 gendered. I don't care. It's a child. Whatever your child is, before you leave the hospital, they check to see if you have a car seat. Do you have a car seat? Where is it? Show it to me. They make you show it. You know what I'm saying? They make you show it to them, which sounds kinky until you realize we're talking about car seats. But they make you show it to them, and here's what's funny. I pulled up our car, I showed them the car seat, and at the time I had said, "Hey, can you double check and make sure that I installed it right?" Because I was paranoid at the time. I didn't know how to do it. I was new to the game. I took the course from the firemen, the firefighters, firefighters. I don't know what you want to call them. Paramedics. I don't know. Fucking dudes from the fire department. Dude bros from the fire department. I took their little course. Their little course was like, just do all the things that seem already pretty self-evident from reading the instructions. Like, okay. But they were like pretty paramount about like, do this, do this, do this. Okay, cool. So I did that. And while I was at the hospital, one of the things I thought was super funny, I was like, hey, can you double check the car seat and just make sure I did it right? The representatives at the hospital were not wrong when they said, we can't check that for you. We can only check if you have a car seat. That's it. We just need to make sure you have a car seat. It could be laying on the ground. We just need to make sure that you have one, not that you're using one properly. Yeah. As Carson says, only if you have it, not that it's installed. Not that it's installed properly or installed at all. Just that you have a car seat before you fucking leave. You know? Maybe you're going to carry it with you. I don't know. Maybe you're going to put it on the roof rack. They don't care. You just need to have one. That covers their liability and the requirement on their end of like, we checked. They had a car seat. We're cool. And it's like, did you check to see if it was tight? Nope. Definitely did not check any of that stuff. And the reason for that is liability issues. So, yeah, the corporation doesn't want to be sued. So they make their employees do that. Is anybody calling in today? I'm in the green room. Should I just leave the green room? Nobody's calling in today. Nobody's calling in for New Studio Monday, you know? So, you know, it's one of those things that, like, I am going like, oh, my God, they're going to try to have to put car seats into airplanes. And then, so in between flights, are they going to have the employees put them in? Or are they going to have passengers put them in? The fucking passengers don't even know how to put shit in the overhead. So many people don't want to check their bags these days that the overhead is stuffed so full of everybody's 2 suitcases they bring into the fuselage of the plane, which, by the way, infuriates the shit out of me to no end. Everybody tries to travel with just a carry-on. But it's no longer just a little carry-on bag. It's pushing it to the max carry-on bag, and then their carry-on is also another suitcase bag. It's driving me crazy. I have to admit, it's probably not important to anybody out there, but over the years, it is getting worse and worse and worse every time you try to go onto a plane. Everybody's got their carry-on, and then their carry-on item, which is also a probably too big suitcase to be even considered a carry-on, but they have 2 of them now. Because they're like, that's my carry-on. Well, what's that? That's my personal item. You know. And so it's a real clusterfuck. So now you're going to add in people bringing on their multiple carry-ons. They're going to bring on their own car seats, or they're going to use the airline's car seat that they've never used before So they're completely unfamiliar with it. And they're going to try to get in there, get the seats put in, get the kids into the seats. How in the world is this going to work? I don't know. But I guarantee you it will not work. It'll probably vilify every parent in every single airline travel person's mind. Way worse than it is now. Because if there's a kid crying on the airplane, there's a good 50% of the passengers that are fucking about to lose their mind. They are about to flip out and get the plane grounded by the flight marshals because do you understand that I can hear a child being upset? Don't you know? But Joel, the carry-on is free and the check bag is $100. Every airline I've ever dealt with has either a really affordable check bag or it's just one check bag's included. The most I've ever paid was $25. Oh, JetBlue charges $65. I don't ever fly JetBlue. That I think those airplanes are coming out of the sky. In my mind, it's not true. They don't crash, but yeah. Alaska is $30. American's $30. Delta is $30. I guess it went up from $25. It went up from $25. United is $35. Southwest is $0. Third bag is $75. JetBlue first bag is $35. Frontier $55 to $89 for your first bag. Well, suck it, Frontier. You garbage airplanes. Speaking of Southwest, you know the trick to Southwest is just sit at the bulkhead in the front. Nobody wants that front bulkhead seat. Just take it. Just take that first seat on Southwest. Just get right in there. Sit right up next to the bulkhead. You're fine. Where did... Oh, man. Oh, it's over here. This button. Oh, okay. Oh, that's why. I moved it over here. Okay. All right. I'm telling you, this new setup is weird. Maybe it's just my recent flights. Yeah. If my desktop was on, I'd hop in, but the stream would be over by the time it's booted up. Well, that's true. We're approaching the 2 hour mark. So, you know. I do best legroom. Yeah, I find that the best legroom up is right up there. People don't like the fact that there isn't a movie screen on the bulkhead, and you get the weird tray that comes up out of the arm. People don't like it. They just fucking hate it for whatever. I don't know. I don't know why. So many times I've flown Southwest that I get on and the front seats are still unoccupied. And I'm like, dude, the front seat, I'm in, baby. I'm getting off this plane first. I'm getting out of here when the time is important. And while I'm on the plane, I guarantee you I'm going to be uncomfortable. So I just go in with the mentality that, like, I'm going to be uncomfortable until this flight is over. So I just going to live with it. I straight up go in with the mentality that, like, I will be uncomfortable this whole time. So just accept it. That's how it's going to be. I'm like, that's how it's going to be. So I just accept it. And I just sit there and it's like, okay, it's going to be uncomfortable. So what's up? Traveling, flying through the sky, as what is it? Louis C.K. put it. He's like a Greek god sitting in a throne, flying through the sky at 500 miles an hour. Sometimes faster than 500. One flight I was on, international flight, was we left like an hour late, and the pilot was like, "I've gotten clearance to fly faster, so we can catch up to our arrival time," and he got pretty damn close. I mean, it was a 10-hour flight, so if you add in 85 miles an hour over 10 hours or something, right? Adds up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Who the hell told you what I pack? Oh, the dildos? Muchos dildos into your carry-on? Well, the dildos are fine. Apparently they have issue with vibrators. That's the bigger issue. So, as far as I know, dildos, not an issue. Vibrators, a problem. So, keep that in mind if you're going to put those types of toys in your carry-on, that apparently vibrators can be a problem. It's been a lot more comfortable since I lost a whole bunch of weight, practically roomy in economy comparatively. That is true. I haven't experienced the world at that weight. I've been very cognizant of my weight over the last month. I gained about 10 pounds, and that's enough on my frame to be like, what the F? So the diet has begun. I'm back on doing my smoothies in the morning as opposed to toast and eggs with a little bacon on the side, So the diet's back on, guys. Not a New Year's resolution, just a resolution. Just a standard one. Just a standard like, all right, I got to lose weight. Summer's coming. Got to show people my my abdomen this summer or whatever, and I don't want them to be like, wow, full dad bod, bro. Yeah. But I've never been in that level of being able to understand like how uncomfortable those seats are for people that are overweight. But I empathize for sure because it's uncomfortable for me, So I can only imagine, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I was I went on the scale the other day and I'm like 195, which is like 10 15 pounds over where I like to be. So, yeah. So got to get my shred on, get a little bit more shredded. Yeah. And I know why, actually. I guess it doesn't matter if people know. I don't mind if people know my inner lurkings. I have honestly been a little bit depressed the last couple months. Last 3 months it's been pretty depressed, and I've been probably eating a lot heavier than I normally do. Not skipping any ice cream treats, if you know what I'm saying. So it's been a lot of that, plus the holidays and the sort of dreary. Oh my God, dreary weather. Sort of cuts down on my steps, my daily steps and stuff like that. So I'm just getting back to hitting the 10,000 steps a day and doing all that. Are you familiar with APT Fix or APT Fix Light? Algicide from 2 Hour Aquarist. Let's look it up. APT Fix. 2 Hour. I know that I've seen it before. Let's see what's in it, because there's has to be an MSDS sheet. Allergen information, allergen free. Oh, really? No one's allergic to any of the products in it. Okay. That's questionable. Works well on BBA. That's the only review. 2 Hour Aquarist, APT Fix Light. Let's look this up. MSD. Oop. And here's how we look things up, guys. MSDS sheet. Do. Oh my God, do they not have an MSDS sheet? Missing MSDS. They don't have the MSDS sheet. Where is the MSDS sheet? What is in it? Supposedly on this website right here. Let's see. Well, they're selling it in Europe. So if it's in Europe, it has to have an MSDS sheet. You might be able to get away with it in the States, but guaranteed you cannot get away with it in the EU, that's for sure. We would need to find the MSDS sheet. So let's see if we can't find it. Q&A. No. Well, so far, not able to find the MSDS sheet. Well, the biggest issue is what is it? If we knew what it is, then we could figure out. Okay, that website did not help us at all. Show results with nothing. Well, we don't know what it is. So that's going to be the bigger issue. Like what is it? And I don't know yet. Let me double check chat. Maybe you guys are chatting about what it is. Someone keeps ordering a bunch of snack cakes and sweets through DoorDash and hasn't fixed their address. We come home and they'll be all and they'll all be on our doorstep. That's crazy. You can't even return the items. Luckily, I do not like Hostess and Little Debbie snack cakes. Yeah, no, that's fucking weird. Well, we'd have to see if we can like find. If we could have to see like if we can find out like what is in it, and then I could tell you. See more product details. Use biocides safely. Always read the label and product information before use. Yeah, where's the fucking label? Why don't we have a label? Why is this a mystery? APT fix. A stronger treatment. Okay. Well, what is it? Okay. Well, we don't. Somebody has to know what it is, and so that's going to be the bigger. That's going to be the bigger issue. But realistically, like some items. Okay. Let me give you my little spiel. Okay, just so you understand where I'm coming from. I don't know what it is in this, so I wouldn't say yes or no. Okay? That would be the first part. Do some treatments kill algae? Yes. Some treatments kill algae. But almost in all incarnations of I treated for XYZ, right? Filament algae, BGA, whatever. BBA, doesn't matter. That doesn't treat the symptom, okay? So you think of it this way, like, and let's use personally the thing I was just talking about, and I gained some weight. Okay, why did I gain some weight? Right? I gained some weight because I haven't been eating. I've been eating too many calories, right? And I haven't been as active with my cardio, right? My cardio has been lessened, right? So, is there a pill that I can take? Yes, there are a bunch of pills that you can take to lose weight. Actors and all sorts of people have been taking all sorts of pills for a very long time to lose weight dramatically for aesthetic reasons, right? But that doesn't treat the underlying issue, right? I need to cut back on my calorie intake and increase my activity. And guess what? Over time, I will treat the symptom or treat the issue that I'm having as opposed to treating the symptom, right? Of like, oh, I've got too much weight on me, right? Like I don't want to be this heavy. Okay. So same thing goes with your fish tank. You can put a treatment on it, on algae, and kill it and get rid of it. And you can do it sometimes. And when things get out of hand, it's probably the best thing to do is to treat it. But you got to figure out what the underlying problem is, or it's just going to come right back because you haven't changed the behavior that is creating an environment for the algae to run rampant. Now, in nature, algae is going to run rampant in stages throughout the year. And that's all a healthy part of the cycle of a pond, a stream, a lake, whatever, a puddle on the ground. Doesn't matter. That's all just part of it. But it's not aesthetically pleasing, right? Because our aquariums are supposed to be aesthetically pleasing. That's why we want to get rid of algae. It's really the only reason we want to get rid of algae. It's aesthetics. Because eventually the algae will outproduce itself, cause a problem, and things will come back into balance later on if you just wait like a super long amount of time. And a perfect example of that is those people doing those closed up little, what do they call them, biospheres or whatever. It's just an enclosed system in a jar, and it looks like shit for 9 months out of the year, and then like a couple months out of the year it looks good here and there, whatever. That's going to be the same thing that's generally going to happen with your aquarium, is it will do that on its own. If you just continue to kind of do maintenance, it'll eventually get back to looking good, but you need to figure out what the underlying problem is. I don't know how to say carboxylic acid. How do you say it? Let's pronounce it properly.
Carboxylic acid.
Carboxylic. Okay, that's why I was saying it wrong. Carboxylic acid. In organic chemistry, a carboxylic acid is an organic acid that contains a carboxyl group attached to an R group. Okay. It's C chain to O. Okay. OH, alkaline. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's just a carboxylic acid. So all it's doing is just breaking down the chain of the algae and just causing it to die. That's all that it's doing. So, yeah, will it kill the algae? Yes, it will kill algae. Yeah. But the bigger problem is that, like, you're not in the game of just killing algae, right? You're in the game of maintaining an aquarium, right? So you need to figure out what it is that you've been doing that is causing this algae to grow to a point where you're no longer aesthetically pleased with the health of your plants or like how the tank looks, how the glass looks, all that blah, 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 all that stuff. So you really need to figure out how to balance your aquarium. And with that comes testing the water, finding out what's insufficient in your system for the plants, for the load that you have in there. And how do you amend that with either like lowering your food, increasing water changes with a different fertilizer, with amending the fertilizer so that you have the right levels in your aquarium to balance it out so the plants grow robustly and you are able to really enjoy the aesthetics of your aquascape. Do you need to amend CO2? Is your light cycle all effed up? All of those kinds of things will contribute to an excess of algae growth. In the opinion of human beings, right? We're dealing with a garden here. We're not dealing with the fish's environment. I've talked about this many times before. Like the perfect environment for goldfish is just pure green water, algae filled pond, right? They love it. It's great for them. It's the healthiest thing for them. But guess what? We as humans, we can't see our goldfish anymore. We don't know how they're doing, and we hate it. Although it's the best environment for them, we hate it as a piece to our fish keeping experience, right? We don't like it. So that's really where my advice would be. I generally would not buy algicide. The one algicide I normally buy, actually the two. Let's be clear here. The two. One of them is hydrogen peroxide, and the other one is Seachem's what's it called? Excel, which glutaraldehyde is an algicide in its own right. I use Excel mainly because I know glutaraldehyde is it's fish safe, it's shrimp safe at lower doses. Do a water change after, but you can dose it direct. You can dose it in extremely high doses, and I've had no fish die off and stuff like that. In fact, I had the 240 was like overrun with algae at one point. It was just bad. So I did like a gigantic dose of it basically every day for a week. And just you get to a point where the algae all turns red and we'll all die. And all the fish are in there like, "What's up, bud? What are you doing?" So those are the two that I would recommend. I use the hydrogen peroxide for spot treatments. Get the water down, spot treatment on it. And I'll use glutaraldehyde as like a big tank dump if I need to do it. As far as the dosing on that goes, it's like a triple dose daily for like a week, and it eventually will turn the algae will all turn red and die, and then the fish will eat it. It basically turns into fish food once it starts dying, and while it's red, it's like it's weakened enough that basically all fish will eat it essentially. So that's my basic advice. Whether or not the 2-hour Aquarist situation is working for people or not, from the science of it, yeah, it will work. I've never personally tested it, so I can't tell you an experience that says, yeah, that'll work and I trust it, right? So yeah, I mean, that's the kind of the best I can do with something I've never used before. It's like I have no experience with it, so maybe it's fine. I don't know. Maybe it's a big gimmick. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the greatest thing ever. I don't know. Can't tell you. But we are at the 2-hour mark, and I don't want to leave this conversation quite yet, but I do have to use the restroom. So where is where's my intermission screen? Okay, that's weird. That's weird. That's real weird. That's real weird. That's real weird. That's real weird. I don't know if I have a scene for intermission. I thought I had one on here. I don't seem to have an intermission. I'll just leave you here for a second. I'll be right back.
Oh my god, did anything crazy happen while I was gone? Did anything crazy happen while I was gone? Mike says, I put Fluval 3 on for 10 plus hours, no filter, 10 plus species of plants, add in a can of La Croix, pure about once a week for CO2, no airstone, all my preferences. Well, I can already tell from what you just described right there. That's your problem. You have too much light. No filtration's not great. La Croix for CO2 is not going to supply CO2 to the system. But if you wanted to run the system like that, what I would recommend, is this book right here. This book is cheap, and I highly recommend you read it. Yeah, it's the ecology. It's the ecology of the planet aquarium. And I honestly, I think that anyone who wants to keep a planet tank should read Diana Wallstad's book. I highly recommend you to read that book. And by the way, that is an Amazon sponsored link. I'm an Amazon affiliate, so if you go through my link, if you buy stuff, I get a commission. It doesn't change the price for you. Blah, blah, blah. Just so everybody fully understands, if you click through my Amazon links, I get a commission. But it doesn't change the price for you, so the benefit is if you're going to spend money there anyhow, you might as well give the advertising dollars to me. It's not much, if you were wondering how much the share is. It's no mucho. First off, highly recommend reading that book. Secondly, if you wanted to add CO2 to your aquarium without injecting CO2, one of the things that you want to do is have you want to have organic compounds breaking down in your tank. Over time, eventually, that will start to be a natural CO2 source for your aquarium, and that book will highlight how to do that. So you basically can add CO2 with very minimal input that you can just essentially set up and let it happen. It'll happen on its own. Nature will take care of it for you. There really isn't that much to do. Isn't CO2 dissolved in water? Yes, but it will immediately gas off. So you adding La Croix, if you take the La Croix perfume water, well, actually, it's more like the idea of perfume was told to the carbonated water. If you take that and you dump it in there, it's carbonated for a little while and will gas off. I did a video on it a long time ago. It's what companies do to fish in it's what companies do to their plants at conventions. Add a bunch of carbonated water to it, so it looks like they're pearling like crazy. But it's really temporarily going to add some CO2 to the water. It will gas off for sure, super fast. Didn't Amano use a similar method for a time? Yeah, it's very, very, very temporary, and it will make your plants look like they're pearling, essentially. And so Amano used to do it because he was taking pictures. Remember, Amano was first and foremost a photographer. That's what he did. So a lot of his techniques taken without context, you will accidentally be doing photography things instead of planet tank things. Although he's a genius and a great guy, he was a photographer first and foremost. So some of the stuff that he did, it's hours. It's like maybe during the day, half of the day, 4, 5, 6 hours, something like that. Yeah, it's not a permanent fix. Water flavored water. Yeah. I mean, the La Croix is it's not a good source of CO2. Just to be clear, it just isn't. Discovered tiny bugs in my turtle tank, so I submerged the tank, and the fish are picking them off. Oh, that's actually pretty smart. Actually, you just fill up the tank, and the fish just eat the bugs in there. That is smart. Using nature to do your dirty work, your bug killing.
Ty Miller, fashionably late as always, but I am here. Okay. Did I already say that? I feel like I said that already, and I'm tripping. But what's up, Ty? Good to see you. Did everybody hit the like button 1,100 million times? It's very important. And you're supposed to share this out with your grandma. That's my rule around here. Share it with your grandma. I could be your grandma's new best internet friend, where I'm just in here a couple hours a week just yammering about nonsense, like airplanes and fish, whatever. One of the display tanks at work is dry. No water, just decorations. A little kid asked me why there was no water in there, and I told him it was a dehydrated tank, and the dad laughed. That is a dad joke. That's a freaking dad joke for sure. Dad joke gone run wild. Do. All right. Have we reached a natural apex to the conversation? I think we have. I think we've reached the natural apex. You guys waited for me to go to the bathroom so we could do the final outro here. I want to give a big shout out to all of the people who are members of the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. The membership has gone down as the gifted memberships have disappeared. The numbers have retreated back to 51. 51 members. Patrons, we lost a couple of patrons, but our number here is inaccurate. Our number here is low. We were at 130. We lost a couple patrons. It is what it is. But I appreciate all the patron support, people that have been supporting this channel on Patreon. Very much appreciate it. And I also appreciate the people that just watch, share, and hit the like button. I very much appreciate it. Mike says, before I head out, I'll answer your question. I'll answer that one. But yeah, I'll be back next week. I'm always here on Mondays. And I will likely be back more often. As you can see, the studio is up and running now, so I'll probably be doing other streams. Just be aware. You can generally always ask me anything. I don't care. Any topic. I don't really care. If I know something, I'll tell you. If I know nothing, I'll tell you that too. But is there any data you're aware of that shows dissolved oxygen change when using an airstone and not using? Yes. And the quick and easy way to look that up would be to look up septic systems. Septic systems utilizing air now as opposed to before not using air. That research is super deep. There's a ton of it. It will really take no time to look up. But if you look up septic systems, oxygenating the water with air, and realistically in our situation, all you got to do is just agitate the water a little bit. I hate air stones. I hate air stones in tanks. I think they're disgustingly ugly, loser-ass bullshit. I don't like them. They look stupid. Like a wall of bubbles is awful looking. It's disgusting to me. And that's my opinion. If you like bubble walls, that's fine. I don't. I think they look cheesy. I think they look bad. And I think your oxygenation should happen elsewhere in the tank. I also think that about CO2 being diffused directly into the tank also, but that's another story. All you got to do is agitate your water a little bit. Take it up, take it down, add some air into it, no problem. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And I do mine in the sump, so I don't ever have to see it because I don't like it. Wouldn't a fan work just as good? Not really. You need to agitate the water. You need to break the surface tension is essentially what needs to happen. Think of a creek, waterfall, any of that stuff. That's how oxygen really is going to be added through the environmental input. Whereas, your plants are going to add oxygen to the water too, but bear in mind, that's not 24 hours a day. That's only half of the day. But yeah. So, thank you, everybody, for supporting the channel. Very much appreciate it. I'm working on edits, and I hope to release some edited content. Tomorrow is a busy road day where we got to do some road doggy stuff, film some fish tankery stuff. So that's exciting, and looking forward to it. And, yeah, at the very least, I'll see you next week on Monday. Oh, I'm coughing. I need some water.